Well, why don't you repeat it?
A gay man with father trauma?
Who? Where?
Every gay man.
Definitely not me. My dad listens to the podcast, I think. If my dad's listening.
Well,
I don't have father trauma, right, Dad?
Mr. Klubeck, I'm very happy that you did not traumatize your son in any way, like some fathers do to their sons.
Oh my
So.
god, you know how? Oh my god. You know
Oh my
how
god.
some people will have that like really annoying stereotype that gay men are only gay because they had like trauma with their dad or something like that.
Yeah. No strong
Um,
father figure in their life.
I have my own anecdotal evidence that says otherwise. So fuck you.
Okay, was that all you wanted to say?
Yeah,
Okay,
my
cool.
dad was very nice to me.
I don't know, because some people say like, yeah, the boy was missing a strong male presence, so now he yearns for one,
Mm,
because he's gay, and I'm just like, I don't know about that, but I do yearn for some strong male presence.
yeah, I was gonna say like if you have strong male presence, doesn't that mean you're more likely to be gay?
I don't know, but
Anywho,
I'd I'd love a strong, hard male presence.
okay, all right, enough. My dad listens to this. Okay.
If he does listen to this consistently, he's heard worse. Last episode, you just talked about the cum pipe.
You talked about it. I didn't bring it up. You talked about it.
I didn't say cum pipe. I said the gay pipe. And you were like, oh yeah, the piss pipe, the cum pipe, the gay pipe. I wasn't going to bring up the other two.
He doesn't know what that means though. He's fine.
I don't even know what it means.
To be fair, I don't. I'm not sure I know what it means either. Anyway,
No. Anyway,
welcome back, everyone, to another episode of What Did the Gays Think? I'm sorry that you had to listen to that intro just now.
I'm not sorry.
Anyway, I am Matt Klubeck, and today with me I have the adorable and cute Pat. How you doing, Pat?
Cool.
Cool.
I'm fine. I'm perpetually um disinterested in existing.
Mood? Question mark?
Yeah. Yeah, sounds about right. I think that's about right.
Imagine just like okay, but imagine for a second, just like not existing. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes. Yeah. Because some people be like, I don't know what happens when I die. Like, it's hard to perceive that there's nothing. And I'm like, that is true. It's hard to perceive nothing. But when you are nothing, you won't have to perceive it. So it'll be
Exactly.
nothing.
You won't even know that you're dead.
I know. Like,
But like, so if there's an afterlife, then fine, whatever. That's great. There's an afterlife. But if you
ugh,
just stop existing, then you don't even know that you're not existing anymore because you just
I
won't know.
know. I know. I don't want an afterlife. I don't want a life. I don't
Oh,
want a pre, post, after, before, current life.
pre, post, come.
Hello, Mr. Klubeck, if
Hello.
you're still listening. Blame your son for bringing cum back up again.
What are we talking about today? What's our
Whole
topic?
hallway smells like cum.
What? Is that a Vine reference? What are we talking about?
It's from you. It's from Trixie Mattel. It's a drag queen thing.
Oh my god, yeah, you showed me that. You show. Oh my god, you just sent me that on TikTok. I remember it now.
You know what's great? She's such a good marketing, machine. She put it on a pillow.
Ah!
And it's like one of those nicely embroidered like script. It's just like the whole hallway smells like cum. And that southern twang. So anyway, what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about two things.
Okay.
First, I just want to give like a quick little recap of the Diablo 2 alpha I was a part of.
Oh yes, amazing.
Oh, and then I also want to talk about endophytes.
Okay, I don't know what those are, but okay,
We'll get to it.
okay.
Diablo 2 alpha came out last weekend for the weekend.
Yes.
April what, 9th to 13th, 9th to 10th. I don't know. Over that last weekend, whatever that last weekend was.
Diablo 2 Resurrected.
Right. My resurrection is stronger now than it was before
Mm,
because
mm.
because this game you only got to play the first two acts with three of the characters, the barbarian, sorceress, and Amazon, and I of course picked the sorceress.
Of course.
And even from this small snippet, it's like less than half the game. It is beautiful.
Oh,
Um, it is running just like it does when it's, the original Diablo 2 that came out in 1999. It runs exactly the same way. It's got a fresh coat of paint. It has some quality of life adjustments that make it more. suitable for modern players. You know, there's a bigger stash for all your stuff. There's advanced stats, so you can see what each little thing is actually doing to boost your character. Um, they've got auto gold pickups, and you don't have to click every little piece of gold because that took forever. So, all in all, it's a great time. I played through the whole played through the whole alpha.
Mm.
I loved it, and we streamed a little bit of it for people who follow us on streaming
Yeah, it was
platforms.
adorable.
I loved it. Yeah, and a big shout out to our friend John who works on it.
Ah,
And I just hope that I get to play in the second alpha or eventual beta.
are you an alpha or beta male?
I let me think here. I think people when they look at me, because I've been told I have resting bitch face a lot.
Mm,
So I suffer from RBF. It's a chronic illness I survive every day with.
wow.
And I'm not afraid of telling my story.
Oh.
So, um, I have RBF, and a lot of people say, especially students when I was the TA, it said they were intimidated by me or that I looked unhappy. So I think it gives off some sort of probable alpha. There's like a correlation there somewhere
Right,
between
between
that.
RBF and alpha.
Right, but at the same time, like I I am very strong-headed. I think I'm more alpha than beta.
All right. I personally believe I am gamma. Specifically gamma from Sonic Adventure. You know, the robot. Have you played Sonic Adventure?
Yes, I have. Yes, yes, I
Yes,
have.
yeah.
Um, Big the cat.
What about him?
Um,
His story was awful in that game.
I couldn't fish in that game with him.
There was like a secret to how to do it, and I didn't
I was
discover it
too
until
young.
later.
I was too young.
I was
too
also
young.
too young.
Yeah.
It was terrible. You could fish for Froggy for hours and never get him. But
Yeah.
there was a
Were
trick
you
to doing it. There was. What?
were you young enough for Matt Gates or no?
Oh. Hello.
Well, you're not the right
Scandalous.
gender. You're not the right gender for Matt Gates, but then again, I don't know. These guys are creeps. Who knows what they led into?
Speaking of Gates, you know how you said you have RBF, resting bitch
Yeah.
face? This has nothing to do
Yeah.
with Gates. I just wanted to segue.
Sure. I mean, work. Shouldn't have told me. Should have rolled with it.
I just should have went with it. But yeah, you have RBF. I've got like the opposite. So I think I've told you this before, but I think I
Yeah.
have like just like a really really approachable face or something.
Yeah. Yeah, people want to come to you.
People just love coming up to me and talking to me, and I hate it.
I hate it. That's why I've developed my death stare, apparently.
I wish I had one. People just like, I'll be anywhere. I'll be on a train. I'll be in a restaurant, and people will just start talking to me. And I'm
I'll
like,
tell you.
what? What happened? Why am I? Who's chatting with me? Leave me
I'll tell you the
alone.
secret. I'll tell you the secret. A good resting bitch face is a relaxed face. Like there's
Okay.
no muscles trying to contort your face into a smile or like perky eyes. Everything just kind of like settles and it's easy and you don't have to think about it. And then you like sort of like unfocus your eyes so it doesn't look like you're looking at anything in particular. And you get real quiet and then no one speaks to you.
I don't think that would work for me. It just wouldn't.
Okay, well, go in the mirror later and just like,
Practice my RBF.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you're really high or something.
Should I just act high all the time?
I mean, you could act it, you could be it. I mean, it's legal-ish.
Oh, I have to ask you a question later about about being high.
Okay, what is it?
No, I'll ask you it later. I'll ask you later.
Okay, well,
Off
back
the
back
air.
to the topic.
Yeah.
To the topic. Diablo 2 Alpha, real fun. Everyone should do it if they get invited. Everyone should buy the game when it comes out. Play it. We're gonna stream it, I'm sure,
Oh yeah.
when it comes out. And if one of us or both of us should get into the alpha or the beta, whatever. So we're done. That's it.
That's it.
Ron, thank you. So we'll move on to the other topic.
Oh, I thought that was the end. Just end the podcast.
No, yeah,
episode
we're
there.
done. We're done. That was a good 15-minute episode.
It's been 9 minutes.
Oh! All right, good thing I have something to talk about now.
Okay, go ahead.
Endophytes. Do you know what that means?
Is it like when you stop a fight? You know, people are fighting and it's the end of it. That was good,
Okay,
right? That
that
was good.
like I don't even have words for what just happened. I think I blacked out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
what are
ask you again. What do you think an endophyte is? Use your Latin.
okay, endo. I don't fucking know.
That almost rhymed. I was
And then
like,
fight.
I swear to God.
Put them up. Put them up. No.
All right,
I
I
really don't
will.
know. I don't.
An endophyte is any organism that lives inside another organism,
Oh, okay.
as opposed to an epiphyte, which lives on top of another organism or on it. Like epidermis, epidermal layer is the top layer of your skin. Epiphytes live outside, endophytes live inside.
Wow. So like the bacteria that lives within our bodies are those endophytes?
Sure. So, using my definition of it, it's basically any organism that lives inside another organism, and there's some sort of interaction between the two of them. Um,
Oh, a symbiotic relationship.
Usually, yes. Like you wouldn't, I wouldn't say if something's killing something else, it's an endophyte. I would say it's a pathogen. It's a biotroph. It's eating living tissue, or a necrotroph. It's killing things and eating its dead tissue. I
What would
think
a tape? What
biotroph.
would a tapeworm be?
Not an endophyte.
Oh, okay.
I would say tapeworm is not an endophyte because it has detrimental effects on the host. Usually, endophytes don't, and that's why those endophytic relationships last is because the organism that's in the other one doesn't adversely affect the host normally.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
so I want to give a because my research is focused on endophytes,
Okay.
fungal endophytes. So there are fungal endophytes, there's bacterial endophytes, there's all types of endophytes. We as people are covered in bacteria. We even have some fungi on us and in us. Yes, go ahead, look.
Where? Where are the
More,
mushrooms on
more,
me?
oh God, here we go. More bacterial microorganism cells on in our body than human cells. Isn't that just wild?
That is wild. I hate it. So like
And
on us, like on our skin or like in us?
yes to both.
Yes.
You
Amazing.
are covered head to toe, in and out, bacteria and fungi and yeasts and shit like
Are you
that.
gonna make me a germaphobe by the end of this?
No, but I will say that germaphobes kind of confuse me because once they have that information, they really shouldn't be that upset. And did you know that those people who do routinely wash themselves ad nauseum or ad infinitum, just people who Purell, wash, scrape everything off their body, they're actually harming themselves because your skin microbiome is incredibly important to your body.
Ah,
The skin microbiome is like the first line of defense to something landing on it.
like COVID.
That's not exactly doesn't it's not going to get in your skin. It's going to get through somewhere else.
Right.
But if a bacterium lands on your skin, every other bacteria is taking up space. It doesn't allow it to actually penetrate or get on or get in. You got bacteria and shit all along your wet linings, as I like to call them.
Ew. Call it a wet lining.
That's what it is. It's my wet lining. When he asks to see some booty pics, I show him my wet
So my
lining.
wet line. Ew. My God.
So anyway, endophytes are cool. So before I get into my endophyte, there is one I like to talk about. Specifically a bacterial endophyte, because these plants are so awesome with this bacterium.
Ooh, okay. Tell me about
So
it.
this plant, you know, grows in the soil. And most of the time when plants are infected with endophytes, they're actually better off. They're more resistant to nutritional stress. They're more resistant to disease. They have better growth, bigger leaves, taller shoots, whatever, whatever.
Hmm.
So this little guy actually has roots, and on the roots, there are these little thing called root hairs. They're just more root cells. They're just really tiny.
Hmm.
For a while, people were just like, oh, they have these root hairs to increase their surface area for absorption of nutrients from the soil. And that's still true. But they also found that these root hairs actually house bacteria.
Ooh.
So what happens is basically the root hair the bacteria gets in somehow. They don't know exactly how. Like the root hair absorbs it, the bacteria penetrates it. And then in this one cell, this one root hair, the plant cycles the bacteria in a circle like a washing machine.
Hello?
And like the bacteria become tight circles and the cellular membrane of the bacteria break and they just become these things called protoplasts or spheroplasts. And then those can be broken down to nutrients for the plants. The plant does this a bunch, it builds up a lot of bacteria, and then it ejects them all into the soil. The bacteria then in the soil reconstitute their cellular membranes, they build them, and the whole process goes over again.
Uh,
They infect the root hair cycles them, breaks them down to, their base parts, uses that for nutrition, spews them out, they fix themselves, and then it just keeps happening over and over again.
but why though?
Because the plants have found a way to use them for nutrition and not kill them. So
But
they
like,
can keep using them
why does the bacteria keep doing that though?
because it probably gets some nutritional value from the plant.
Ugh.
So, you know, we don't know how these things really started, obviously. These things just start to happen over time. These associations stick because they're so good. And they found that. And it was so fucking wild.
Oh my god,
Like
chew me up and spit me
I
out.
I I mean, Daddy, I found this out a couple weeks ago in class. Everyone else in class seemed fine. I was losing my shit because I was like, this is wild. Like plants are growing bacteria inside themselves and then spewing them out. Like, okay, I don't know why I was living for it, and everyone else was just like, yeah,
Okay.
okay,
All
okay.
right.
Like, can we move on to the lab? And I'm like,
Was
this is
this you
groundbreaking.
TAing?
No, I was in class learning.
Oh.
Ah, you could always learn something new, even in your ripe old age of nearly dead.
Oh, are you nearly dead?
Nearly dead. So plants can use bacterial endophytes for nutrition and things like that. But I work with fungal endophytes. So
Right.
what is that? It's a fungus that penetrates a plant.
Now these aren't the fungus that will like sit on top of a frog's head, for example, or some shit like that. Just craziness.
No, I don't think so. So, you see those cap forming mushrooms, those like they have the caps in the stalks. Those are basidiomycetes. It's just a type of fungus. They form the caps. Most endophytes are ascomycetes, which they don't form caps.
Hmm.
They grow by these things called mycelium, which is dense hair-like structures called hyphae, which are just very long hair-like cells. And they kind of grow in these mats, just big old mycelium. Mat,
Matt?
yes. Yeah. So some of these ascomycete fungi grow inside of plants.
Hmm.
And they imbue them with a lot of benefits, like I just told about before, like bigger physiological benefits, like taller plants, deeper roots. Um, but the one I work with is like one of the most well-known types of endophytes. It's in. Do you know what a genus is?
Are we talking about like genuses and phylums and whatever? That shit?
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of.
Okay, so the lowest level I normally use is species.
Yeah.
So if you look at Homo sapien,
Homo.
Homo is
No
the
homo.
genus. Yes.
Hashtag no homo.
Homo is the genus, sapien is the species, if I'm not mistaken. So the endophyte I work with is the Epicloe genus. Epicloe festucae is the species.
Oh my god. I remember I think I was reading through some of your thesis paragraphs or something and I was trying to pronounce this and you were like, "No, that's not how you pronounce it."
Yeah. So it's called festucae, the species, because it infects festuca grasses.
Right.
Also known as fine fescue grasses. These grasses are like lawn grasses and field grasses. They're very common. And the cool thing about this endophyte is that it grows inside the plant, obviously, but it does a bunch of shit. Do you know what ergot poisoning is?
No.
You know what ergot is?
Ergo? Like ergo.
No, ergot.
No. Okay.
Okay, so anyway, this endophyte is cool because it produces a lot of these chemicals that are anti-herbivory. So animals and insects that eat them can die, get sick, or they have a bitter flavor. So the grass host doesn't get eaten because the fungus that grows inside of it produces all these chemicals that prevents it from being eaten,
Wow. So I guess it
which is
is good for the
awesome.
grass.
It is because it prevents cows, deer, flies, and shit from eating, not flies, but like leafhoppers and shit from eating it. One of the things, though, because it makes a lot of chemicals, it makes things called terpenes, alkaloids, all this other shit. But one of them is ergot. So at some point, the fungus will make this big old black mass that rests on the leaf. And if you eat it, you get very sick. Because you get ergot poisoning, because ergot is one of these ergovaline compounds that causes a lot of problems in your body.
Mm.
On a related note, they also produce things like LSD
Oh, hello.
and lysogenic, but like the LSD and LSD-like compounds that are obviously psychoactive.
Oh, okay. These same. We're talking about the fungus, right? Still.
Yeah, so the fungus produces all this crazy shit. So sometimes you'll have animals grazing in these fields, and they'll get randomly tired and just fall over and sleep for like, weeks. Um, their hooves will get infected and they'll start to rot.
Ew.
Yeah, it's really not great. They get very under nutrition, like, they have low nutritional value, so they get very thin. So these fungi are really putting in work and trying to protect the plant, but of course it has adverse effects on the animals that eat it.
Okay.
Specifically, I don't care about the herbivory stuff. We care about in my lab the fact that the fungus produces all these antifungal things, supposed antifungal things. So the fungus produces an antifungal compound, which seems counterintuitive. Because you'd think if a fungus produces an antifungal protein or compound, that it would somehow work on itself and kill it.
Oh, but it doesn't.
It doesn't. So a lot of these fungi produce these antifungal proteins or compounds, but they usually have self-resistance somehow. We don't know exactly how, but they're usually self-resistant.
Is it to fight off the other fungus that might be there?
Yes,
Ooh,
yes. So we
fungal
are lucky
wars.
enough. Yes, so we are lucky enough to work with this beautiful system that's been well documented. And it's one of the few that worked like this, so that's why it's so interesting. We have a grass, and you have the endophyte that infects it, which protects it specifically from one, well, not just one, but we know one specific fungal disease of grass.
Ooh,
So, um, there are a lot of the endophyte does a lot of stuff for the grass, but this one disease called dollar spot infects turf grass. It's called dollar spot because when you get infection, you get like these dollar-sized bleached white lesions or blighted areas, destroyed turf. It's really bad. It's like the number one or number two most disease on turf in the world.
hello.
So yeah, it's a real problem, especially for all you hoity-toity people that love your golf courses. You don't want dollar
Ugh.
spot on it. So
Ugh.
yeah,
Talk about how
so
terrible golf courses are for the environment.
as I'm funded by the USGA, the United States Golf Association. Listen, I will say that I am in it for the lawns. I'm in it for the well manicured or the sports fields or the parks. I'm in it for that. The
Right.
golfing I don't really care for that much. But so you have this bad disease dollar spot that affects grasses, and then you have this grass that has an endophyte that somehow just doesn't get it. It's resistant consistently. It's not a fluke. It consistently is resistant to it in the field. Ask any scientist, especially a plant scientist.
Anybody.
When you if you knew one. When you go from lab work to greenhouse work to field work, your results and your experiments get weirder and not right.
Mm?
Because there are environmental effects every level you go up that you did not account for in your previous setup. So a lab is very controlled.
Yeah.
A greenhouse is less controlled, but still more controlled than the field work. So when you get into the field, a lot of shit goes wrong. But even in the field, the endophyte infected turfgrass is resistant to this disease, which is great.
Wow.
We love to see it. Unfortunately, not every grass is capable of having an endophyte. We don't know why.
Mm. So
There are
is turf grass able to have it?
Some turf does have it, yeah. So there's a lot of types of turf grass. I work with festuca, so that's a fine fescue, a strong. It's called the strong creeping red fescue. But there are other turf grasses like tall fescues, and then there are blue grasses, and then there are bent grasses. So
Can
like bent
we
grass.
can we infect the turfs with this disease?
Strange of you to bring up J.K. Rowling in this
Why?
conversation.
Why is this strange? Is she a fungus?
No, but she is a turf.
She is a turf.
Yeah. Um, for example, moving from J.K. Rowling, um, bent grass, which is actually a nice grass. It's very fine, soft blades of grass. It's very you cut it very low. It's very uniform. It packs well, so it's a nice dense turf. I mean, not dense as in dense, but like nice dense soil. That has no naturally occurring fungal endophytes. For some reason, it just doesn't have them. Never picked up that skill, didn't go to that workshop, didn't get its degree,
Hello.
whatever.
Doesn't have its masters,
So,
you know.
right, so, but bentgrass is super susceptible to dollar spot. So our lab wants to know, okay, can we figure out whatever the endophyte is doing in the fine fescue grass and then somehow use it on bent grass to protect it from dollar spot? Because the alternative for, protecting from dollar spot is a lot of cultural stuff you can do. You can keep your grass well watered. You can limit the nitrogen on it. You
Mm,
can apply fungicides, but of course, fungicides have whole other issues with it. If
mm.
you use fungicides, you have to worry about how much you apply because it can be toxic. Toxic to your plants, it can be toxic to the people, it can be toxic to wildlife if it leaches out. It's highly regulated, it's also costly. And worst of all, if you keep applying fungicides, if you apply a lot of fungicides, you are selecting for fungi that are resistant to fungicides. Much like if we overprescribe antibiotics to people, you're going to get bacteria that are resistant to those antibiotics. The more you use it, the more you're going to breed these super bacteria that can survive anything you throw at it.
Oh
So
my.
the more fungicides you use, the more likely you're going to bring about a super fungus.
Whenever you say fungicide, I'm just thinking of like mushrooms killing each other. Like
Honestly,
here
you might
comes
as well.
Toad. Toad
Toad and
Toad
Toadette
with a
fighting
knife.
it out. So Dollar Spot already has, I think, documented fungicide resistance for nearly every fungicide that can be used on it. So it's very smart, the fungus. Like it quickly adapts, and we don't know exactly how it does this because we don't see its sexual stage. We see its asexual stage.
Mm.
So we're like, what the fuck? It just keeps evolving very fast. So we want to, just discern if we could take what's in the endophyte and then imbue it into the bent grass, whatever mechanism it is to protect it from dollar spot.
Inject me with endophytes, daddy.
Well, wouldn't do that. Because the funny thing is this endophyte is great in fine fescue, right? However, the endophyte also exists as a pathogen in other grasses.
Oh, amazing.
It does this thing called choke disease, which honestly I love the sound of.
Oh, you're
I
into
wish
it.
I suffered from choke disease, if you know what I mean, ladies.
Ladies, get it.
Ladies. So basically, what happens is in our grass, where it's acting as endophyte, the fungus grow like there's a blade of grass, little blade of grass. The
Yeah.
fungus grows up it, right?
Mm.
But it's controlled, so it doesn't grow too much because it would penetrate the plant and just start growing out of it. It actually they have something called what is it called? Intercalary growth or intercalary division, where they sync up their growth patterns. So when the grass stops growing, so does the fungus, and it knows somehow. And
Wow.
they've kind of figured out how, but I'm not going to get into it because it's a little complicated. So,
Wow.
but in this other grass, it doesn't do that. It just keeps growing.
Oh.
It grows into the tiller by the seeds of the grass. It colonizes it. It forms this thick patch of mycelium called a stroma, and it chokes the inflorescence, so
Ah.
it cannot bear seeds, and the plant kind of just dies.
Mm. Amazing.
Um, or it infects the seeds, and the seeds survive, but then it has the fungus in the seeds, and when it grows into a plant, the plant's already infected. So it's a delicate balance. You know, these
Right.
endophytes are good or they're sometimes bad, but in our case, we love it.
They have they have dissociative personality disorder, or dissociative identity disorder. They don't know what they want,
DID. I wish I had DID. It would explain a lot, but I
You
can't use it
wish
as a
you had
crutch.
it.
No, I honestly don't. That sounds awful. Um, I did see someone on TikTok though who apparently does suffer from DID, and they do TikToks with each of their identities.
Oh,
I'm
really?
not gonna, yeah, I'm not gonna say it's like fake because I don't know. I'm not gonna like,
Mm.
I can't tell. I do know the incidence of DID is very low. It's not a very pronounced disorder, but if
Yeah.
that's real, interesting.
Interesting.
So, yeah, that's basically what our lab does. All in all, endophytes are great. They're helpful for the most part.
Except when they choke you.
All endophytes, because really the subtext of endophyte is that it's symbiotic.
Hmm.
You know, it's not hurting the plant. It's usually quite often benefiting the plant somehow, whether it's the bacteria or whether it's the fungus. But sometimes these endophytes have these lifestyles where they swap. Some pathogens have lifestyles where they just kind of sit in the plant, they do nothing, but then they detect the plant is stressed, they detect injury, and they turn it on. And they become pathogenic and start colonizing and start killing the plant. So really, it's you just gotta maintain healthy plants, and then if you do have anything living inside of it that could go evil, it shouldn't.
Oh, they could go evil.
Yeah, but a really common thing is when people who manage turf fields say like I have a problem on the turf, a good alternative is to just say buy an endophyte infected grass or a resistant grass because then you don't have to worry about fungicides because it's resistant. And the great thing about endophytes is that, there's this idea that if you had a resistant grass to a disease, right? It has some gene that provides resistance to the disease, you know,
Yeah.
some genetic component. The longer you use it, though, the more likely the disease is going to somehow overcome it.
Mm.
The endophytes, though, in my opinion, there's much less chance of the pathogen somehow subverting the endophyte.
Hmm.
So these endophyte grasses are a really good alternative. So if you have a field, like, some golf courses obviously are very picky about grasses they use. But if you have like a field, if you have your home lawns, these kind of grasses are very good. And I suggest you buy them.
Wow. I just seeded in my backyard. I don't think we got whatever this is, though. What? Say it. Say it.
Did you ask Troy to seed your backyard?
Ah!
Yeah.
No, we
Well,
seeded
what
my
did you
backyard.
know? Do you know what kind of grass you seeded with at all?
No, Troy did it. I wasn't paying
Well,
attention.
can you ask him? Because I want to know.
Okay, I will later.
I can tell you what the most common diseases you might find on it is.
Oh, well, you want to take a look at my my backyard and see what
I already
diseases are
did.
there?
I already did. It
Did
was
you?
nighttime. It was dark though. It was dark.
Oh, did you see
So I couldn't.
any pathogens in my grass?
In your
In
ass.
my
Um, no, I mean I didn't look too hard. We were drinking that night, so
Oh my god, there's like a thousand anthills in my backyard now. I'm like, where did you all come from?
honestly, that could be good though.
But I don't want them there. I don't want them getting in my house though. Like they could stay
Just
outside, but I don't
just
want them in my house.
spray a bug spray around your house. Keep Cody inside for about 4 hours, and you let him back outside again.
Ah, all right. Well, I just don't want the ants in my house. They can have their colony, whatever. Just don't come in my house. Leave me alone.
Buy some ant spray. What is the problem?
I
Oh
don't like how they're
God.
so close. They've inched closer to the
Oh
house.
my God. I've got millipedes running around my kitchen. You don't see me complaining.
Oh, you should be.
I mean, all right, I kind of am. I saw one the other night and I screamed.
I screamed. Do millipedes really have, what is it, a million feet? Or
No, nothing has a million legs. Nothing. Nothing has a million anything except for the fucking rich people in this country.
but why are they called millipedes then? Is it because they're
There's
tiny?
a, why are they called centipedes?
They don't have 100 legs. So why are they called centipedes?
I don't know.
Who did this?
Entomologists did, I'm sure.
Well, they did it wrong. They're terrible people.
Although I will say millipedes and centipedes eat other bugs, so it's kind of nice to have them around because then you know they're hungry because they're there because there's food. You know.
Mm. But then there's also spiders.
They also eat insects, yes.
Yes, but I hate spiders,
I like a spider.
especially big ones. Like big spiders, I hate big spiders. Like if
Well,
you're a tiny spider and you're in my house, I don't care. You can live your damn life. But if you're a huge spider, I'm killing you.
well, they'll protect you from the ants because I'm pretty sure spiders do eat ants.
Well, look, the small spiders can protect me, but not the big spiders. Nah, get out of here.
I don't get very many big spiders. I get mostly just ants and millipedes and rats. I get rats too.
Oh, well, that is a problem.
Well, we don't have them anymore, but we had them for a couple months. It was hard to get rid of them.
Oh, well, there's a mole in my backyard somewhere. We have a mole.
As long as you don't have mole crickets, you're fine.
What are mole crickets?
Horrifying things.
Mm.
Horrifying. They look horrifying. They're these bugs. They're disgusting. I don't like them.
Oh,
They have like
uh,
these weird arm appendages.
why are they called mole crickets?
Because they burrow, but they're insects. And they
Mm,
can leave like mounds.
I hate it.
Yeah, it's not good.
Well, I have a mole in our backyard because you can see the little pathways that it digs in the ground and it leaves like these trails. I'm like, what are you doing? Get out of here.
You you were like, I have a mole, and I was like, oh, where? You should get it
On my
checked out by a
ass.
dermatologist. I saw it. I did see it. I was quite
There's a
pleased.
mole in my backyard. There's also disease in my backyard.
You should
Mm.
really go to the doctor and get that checked out.
I tried to make a dentist appointment and they were like, we are fully booked for months. And I'm like, why?
People
And
want their teeth cleaned.
it's because the dentist stopped seeing people for a while, so now everyone's trying to get back in to do their dentist shit.
I mean, people are really horny for people to put their tool in their mouth, I guess.
Okay, all right. What?
Yeah, that's the common pickup line. You go to somebody like, "Hey, you a dentist?" And they're like, "Why?" You just go, "I want your tool in my mouth."
Your tool in my mouth?
I know I've used that on you before, so don't act
Uh,
surprised.
I'm not acting surprised. I'm not at all. What else
Hmm.
we talking about?
Well, where are we? How long is this episode?
Oh, so we're at 37 minutes.
I don't know. Anything else you want to discuss? I mean, what happened? Oh, there's been like a mass shooting like every day recently.
Oh yeah,
That's
we haven't
great.
talked about it on we haven't done like a current events episode in a while, and so we missed like all the mass shootings that happened, which they all sucked.
Yeah, I kind of wish we didn't have to talk about it.
How do you feel about how do you feel about like gun control? Like what
I don't want civilians owning firearms.
mood? Huge mood.
I don't. And then the conversation becomes like, well, what about hunting? And I'm like, well, you can have special permits for that
Hmm.
if you can prove that hunting is a means of which you need to live by. Or if you are actually a designated hunter to reduce populations, fine. But if you don't require hunting to survive, if it is not your occupation or if you need it to eat, you do not need a gun. I'm sorry. You don't need a gun. Guns do one thing. Like a lot of like people be like, what about knives? Well, knives are for cooking and cutting shit up.
Right.
Guns have only one purpose in life. They're a unifaceted tool. There's nothing else you can do with the gun besides hurt/kill someone.
How do you feel about the self-defense argument? Like, I want a gun in my house to protect me from potential invaders.
No.
No.
I'm sorry. Yes, it's living is scary. There is a chance that someone will break into your house because there are people out there who don't care about your doors. However, I've heard statistics that if you own a weapon, you're more likely to be injured by it than if you didn't.
Wow. I have not heard of such
So,
statistics. I should look that up.
if that's true, rip. If it's not true, I also don't think that you require yes, there are dangerous areas and people may feel comfortable with it, but I think if we worked on regulating guns, you would need to own less of them for defense if they were more regulated.
Here in New Jersey, they actually, I think Governor Murphy just did something. I think he made it so that you had to take a training course in order to buy a gun in the first place. I need to have background checks as well, which I think New Jersey's gun laws were already pretty good. But I think that having a training course is a good idea too.
Like if we need to own guns, like if we can't get rid of all of them, make them extremely hard to get. Make it like you need a year's probation before you even own it. to make
Mm.
sure you do no violent crimes, to make sure you have a clean record, that you're emotionally sound. Then, if you want a gun, fine. But that first year you have the gun, you're also on probation for it. Screw up, the gun's taken, you can't get guns ever again.
Ooh, hell
Like
yeah.
my dad owns like an AR-15. Why? My grandfather, like, and uncles and cousins and shit own guns. I'm like, what are you doing with them? We go to the shooting range. Why?
Why?
Why is using a tool made to kill people fun?
Me here with my bow and arrow.
Oh, they're gonna say something else. They're gonna say me here with my dick.
My dick now, killing people with it. No.
I mean, okay, fine. You want to talk about bow and arrow archery?
No, I think archery's fun. Like,
There's some aesthetic, loveliness of archery. There is a sort of competitive skill involved. I haven't in recent history heard of a mass shooting with a bow and arrow. So I think they're fine.
that one guy at the Black
Uh,
Lives Matter protest that took out the bow and arrow. He's like, "All lives matter," and he pulls out the arrow.
Then he lied. He lied like 20 minutes later about how they like jumped him in his car, even though he clearly got out of it with his bow and arrow. And I'm like, I don't know. I can't. I just don't. I don't find. I don't understand the purpose of owning it and using it. It's clearly designed for one thing,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
it's
I
not
could,
fun for me.
I can see the argument for like, oh, I could take it to the shooting range, etc. Because it's kind of like archery. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
shooting a target, whatever. It can be competitive in a way.
Shooting ranges should just have lockers for that they keep and they store there.
Yeah, you can rent them and shit. Like, uh, I'm iffy on it. I definitely think they need to be regulated a lot more, especially given the current situations that have been happening
Yeah.
with all the mass shootings and people. Almost every one of them. I'm pretty sure I read it was like every single time the gun was bought legally in whatever state it happened in.
Yeah, that's why everyone's like, well, what about the illegal guns? I'm like, well, when I start seeing illegal guns being used in these mass shootings, then I'll consider it part of the conversation. But until I see that, I'm not going to consider it because I think the bigger problem is the legal guns.
Mm.
Also, if I have like kids or something, I don't want a gun in the house because the last thing I need is the kid grabbing it and shooting himself in the head with it.
Oh my god, yes. But
Yeah.
that's if you have kids, am I right?
Yeah, but at that point, I'd have the kid shoot me with it.
Oh, hello.
Kill me.
Mood.
Mood.
I'll shoot you with something.
The cum pipe.
Shoot a child in your mouth while I'm right.
Somehow it always comes back to Montero.
Oh, it
Somehow.
does. Montero. Anyway, let's wrap up here. I'll say I just spit on my screen. Oh my god.
Well, you are a spitter.
Yeah, spitters are quitters though, and I'm a quitter. That's why we're quitting this episode. Anyway,
All right.
thanks
All
everyone
right.
for listening / watching to this episode of What Did the Gays Think? If you don't follow us on Twitter, that's the best place usually to get notifications on when new podcast episodes come out. You can follow us on WDTGT Podcast. We also post some memes and stuff, some fun times.
Yes.
And we do political commentary sometimes as well. So come give us a follow there. And again, if you don't subscribe to us on the the podcast platforms, go ahead and subscribe and give it a rating too, so that we get more recognition, and share with your friends. If you really love us, go ahead and tell your friends about us. We would love that.
Yes.
If you're on YouTube, leave a comment, and we'd love to take a look at it and respond to that. And yeah, if you also like games, we also have a Twitch channel. And What Do the Gamers Think? That's GAYMERS. Sometimes we stream on it, sometimes we don't, but we're working on it.
Certainly do.
We're working on it. So come give us a follow there, and when we do get back to streaming, we will be there. Anything else, Pat?
Uh, no.
No. Okay.
No. No.
All right. So thanks everyone for listening. I am Matt Klubeck.
And I'm infected with bacteria, fungi, and just the touch of herpes, Patrick.
Oh, okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.